We've got a ballistic solution app on my...
Tuna grounds are on the ocean, Tommy. We're going to do that. Don't go anywhere.
We've got all the great fish that make great fish and chips.
Hey, good evening and welcome, Fish on Northwest. New England Tommy Donlin in studio.
Back at it.
Kind of a little new look going on here.
We do. I like it. It's a little cozier up in here.
Cozier, pulling in a little tighter this evening, but we'll get to that later on. Hey, welcome. First time watching the show. We appreciate you stopping on by here, and if you're a regular attendee, well, thank you for the support. As we move along through the evening here, lots of content to cover tonight, Tommy.
It's full. I mean, everything from bears to salmon to tuna, you name it.
Crab.
We're covering it.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Not to say we're going bear hunting, as it would be, but we do have bears to discuss nonetheless. Based on a email and an informational release from WDFW earlier in the week or the end of last week, there are grizzly bears in Washington State. A lot of folks aren't aware of that.
Mm-hmm.
They get a little sketched out when you start talking grizzly bears in Washington State, and why did they reintroduce them, and all those arguments begin. Well, we're going to try to navigate our way through that, an educational series here tonight and next week. Tonight we'll be with biologist, field biologist with WDFW, and basically we're going to talk about really the effects of bear in the landscape and how they interact with humans and things you need to be aware of. They call it bear aware, right?
Mm-hmm.
So next week we'll really delve into it as far as more so from an outdoors person, hunter perspective, the impacts that they may have on some of our ungulate populations, content that as a hunter you're more interested in than you would be maybe as a hiker or something.
But
so
you got to start with the baseline education.
You got to start
right?
with the baseline education and make folks aware that we do have grizzlies in Washington State, and is the population thriving and all that. That is why it's on the agenda tonight. Along with, we're checking in with our buddy Mike Ainsworth, First Light Guide Service, been out fishing Area 10, Area 9. Chinook fishing is doing fairly well. Some days are better than others. It's also going to kind of segue into the start of the show here, Tom. We're going to have a little discussion on tides. If you don't pay attention to tides before you go fishing, then you're really not planning your day.
Right. And not, the tides is one thing, right? The tide is just a reflection of your water level.
Yeah.
But really what it drives is the current.
Yeah, absolutely.
So understanding, the currents and how is that pushing bait together? How is it pushing those weed lines together?
Yeah.
Where do you have current rips and things like that?
Yeah.
So,
we also have the second installment. Last week we showed you part one of our Neah Bay experience out there fishing for Chinook out in the ocean off of Neah Bay, and pretty successful outing. That was our first day, day two for you. This will be the finalization of that. Me, Tommy, and the Beard hitting the water for day three for Tommy, and of course day two for Jordan and I. And we had a fantastic morning. Within a couple short hours,
it was epic. Yeah,
we filled our box, and it was a phenomenal bait bite. We wanted to share that with you, so that'll be part of the lineup this evening. Also checking in with Karsten McIntosh, Communications Manager with the Northwest Marine Trade Association. He's been on the show a number of times. We do have a derby series.
We do.
Happening through now. It started yesterday through the most of summer into September. The culmination of all those and the boat giveaway. We want to make sure we get everybody up to date on the exact schedule, what events are happening on the heels of COVID, and the fact that they are going to give the boat away via raffle like they do. Last year they didn't, basically because everything that was on. We had Carson on last year, kind of summarizing the couple derbies that they executed, the fact the boat wouldn't be given away and why.
Yep.
And for those that are all qualified for this year, even if you attended events last year. So we're going to close out the show.
He and his team have just done a phenomenal job navigating COVID.
Yeah.
And still, figuring out with the, it's so dynamic, right? The rules of each county changing.
Right.
And still being able to put on the Derby series.
Yep.
And bring that to, the public, I think is pretty phenomenal.
You think about what they do for the Derby series, think about what they do for the Seattle Boat Show and how they pulled it off, even though it was virtual last year. I mean, amazing stuff comes out of that organization, and rightfully so. We want to give them some airtime and make sure, people understand exactly what it is they have going on out there. So lots of stuff to get through. Before we get too far along, I want to remind everybody that Fish Hunt Northwest is presented by Better Homes and Gardens Pacific Commons Real Estate, located in NMTA, Washington, and of course our good friends out at Defiance Marine located in Bremerton, manufacturers of the Allied, the Arima, and Defiance boat series. And of course, good friends over there at Phoenix Protective Corp, www.phoenixprotectivecorp.com. If you're looking for employment or prior military or police, make sure you look them up, www.protectivecorp.com. They're hiring, and it's a fantastic company to work with. Now, with that, Tommy, what is happening around the Pacific Northwest and beyond? Neah Bay, slight change. Didn't actually even give this any thought. It kind of, I don't want to say it surprised me, but it makes sense at this point based on quota fishing, length of season, or to extend out the season, and the recent closure we had of Area 5.
Well, you know, and it makes sense too, right? Because Area 5 closed, you know, what some may consider early. So that opportunity went away. Now, you know, Area 4, Area 3, yes, Area 3 has quota allocated to it. It's open, but that's a long ways to run from CQ, you know, remembering that both Neah Bay and La Push are closed.
Yep.
So you're launching out of CQ. You know, and so realizing that that's the only game in town and knowing that people are going to run, you know, 12 miles up the beach to fish Area 4 and the fishing's been good.
Yeah.
It doesn't, you know, you could kind of see the writing on the wall. It wasn't going to last very long. And so really, you know, in order to stretch that salmon season out and give people a chance to really get opportunity, right, that probably wouldn't be there otherwise, you know, it looks like we're going to one fish per person per day.
Yep, we are. It's,
one Chinook.
Yep, one Chinook. We 2 fish limit, one Chinook. We are open for 2. You can retain 2 up and through tomorrow, July 23rd, 2 Chinook. And then after that, the 24th through the 31st, daily limit 2, 1 may be Chinook. And then through August through September 15th, daily limit 2. And again, one can be a hatchery Chinook. So there's some adjustments happening. Again, it's to the benefit of the masses in allowing the season to extend as far into the summer, early edge of fall as we can.
Yeah.
If you want to keep going out there and hammering 2 Chinook and, you know, stay off coho, we're going to close that Chinook fishery down relatively quick. So this is giving everybody an opportunity. Hey, you still get 2 fish, and those coho will be here in short order. Yeah. And fishing will be good.
And the other thing we got to look forward to is the reopening of halibut. So let's not forget
August 19th.
August 19th, we've got that late halibut opener. And we've got a series of dates. It's looking really good, and it's going to stay open until either we get the quota or we've got that date towards the middle to the end of September, which would be your final closure date.
Deep into September, right? And so they basically, and so it's easy to bash WDFW, but at times they do stuff that work favorably for us as recreational anglers. This is one of them. And they, on the heels of last year, recognizing how successful that particular time frame was because halibut season initiated so late into the year. And they recognized the attendance and the participation in that late opportunity with abundance of quota, which we never even barely scratched.
Right. And the fishing's phenomenal, by the way,
amazing.
In August and September, too.
And we left a lot of halibut on the table. So they went ahead and said, if you remember, when we were talking as we neared the end of halibut season, first opening to closure, we said, well, we will have that summertime opportunity again. It looks like WDFW is considering giving us that sometime in August opportunity. Well, it's here. August 19th is that opener, right? For Ocean and Puget Sound. Really good opportunities to go get some halibut at some amazing weather windows, time of year.
Yeah.
When you get that, you go, why do we even go in May? It's like going winter run steelheading and freezing your ass off all day when you could just wait for summer run, right?
So it's because you've been locked up inside all winter long, you know, and everybody's fidgety and they want to hit some fish. So. Yeah.
So things to look forward to. Neah Bay will continue to fish, and of course, as you mentioned there, Tommy, the halibut coming up here in August. Just another option, along with tuna, along with salmon in our ocean opportunities. Puget Sound, it should be on fire by then with lots of coho and pink starting to enter the water. So there's a lot of good things happening right now, and not to mention crabbing. Right. Oh, by the way,
speaking of which,
we will have that later in the show as well. A bait lab, how to rewind with Thomas Donlin in the bait lab. A to Z on your crab pots, how to get it rigged, how to bait it up for success. He's got some novel ideas that you won't see a lot of folks utilizing that's going to definitely put crab in your cooler. Okay, Tommy, big tides in Puget Sound today, tomorrow, through this 3-4 day window. Big tides, right?
Yeah.
When I say big tide, I look at it and go, it's a 14-foot
swing.
14.9 foot swing. That to me is a big tide.
That's considerable.
Okay?
Yep.
So one thing we also know, if you look at your charts and just kind of graph that stuff out of how it progresses, to move that volume of water takes some time. So your tide fluctuation, that's a 7.5 hour window of water moving one direction until you hit that slack. So tomorrow, the 23rd, I'm going to hit the water. We have a minus 3.3, okay, at 10:48 in the morning. That will then switch, and on that incoming, on that flood, we got a height of 11.6, and that goes all the way to 6:30 in the evening.
Yeah.
So from almost 10:30 to 6:30, right? It's a 7.5 hour window in there of moving for almost 15 feet in height of water change. Now, what does that mean? Well, like you and I were talking about before the show, a lot of water changing, a lot of water movement creates current.
Yep.
And a lot of current. You know?
Yeah, and so one of the things that you got to think about too when you got that fast moving current, and we kind of, if you didn't catch it, go back and watch part 1 of our Neah Bay Chinook fishing episode, because I kind of break it down there.
Yeah, you do.
But when the current's moving that fast, you have to understand the relationship between how fast the current is going and then how fast your boat is moving over the current, right? Mm-hmm. So if the current's moving at 1.7 knots and you need to troll 2.5 knots, you need to basically add 2.5 knots to 1.7 and be going, close to 4 over 4 in order to be able to get your flasher to spin, right?
Yep.
And you have to, that's speed over ground, right? Now, if you've got a water wheel, and a lot of guys don't anymore.
No.
If you got a water wheel, your water wheel should be able to tell you speed over water, but your GPS is super accurate, and I like to use that. So the first thing I do is when I set up for a run, I check and see how fast are we drifting, right?
Yeah.
Okay, 2 knots. Okay, now I know that's my 0 spot. Now I've got to add to that. And then the other thing is, you'll see guys, right? Because if you don't have a lot of current, and a lot of spots in the Sound, you're used to some pretty dead current. A lot of the times when you don't have these huge tides, and you'll be able to make the lap, right? You'll be able to do a racetrack, right? You make a swing in, you turn out, you can go against the current because it's not that strong.
Yep.
Well, when you get tides like this in a lot of the spots, you got to run down with it, troll with it, pick up, and then run back up to the top.
Drop in again.
For the guys that troll against it, you're going to be sitting there, and your speed over ground is going to be like 0.8.
Yeah.
And your flasher is going to be rotating like crazy. You're going to have a ton of blowback, but you're not going to be covering water, right?
No.
Which is the whole point of trolling.
It's like casting a spinner out and reeling it on the downswing side against the current, and you're standing on shore.
Yeah. Yep.
Your lure is moving. It's rotating like a mofo, right? But your position over ground is stationary, and you're not going nowhere. So it's all about current speed. Big tides mean lots of current. What worked before may not work. In comparison, 1 week later, and I've kind of keyed in on Fridays because of the busyness of everything going on. My days to fish are this and this and this. To put the boat on the water, I'm going this Friday. Hey, it's a huge tide, but we just got to look for areas where those fish will tuck in, where that bait gets shoved into because of the current, the extreme current. So starting out a little shallower in our depth and in pursuit. I'm going to pay attention to my electronics. My Axiom Pro is going to tell me exactly where the bait is, going to show me if there's fish in the area, and we're going to target those fish, and we're going to start in tight, and we're going to move our way out, only to a certain distance, though. I'm not going to get out there and fight the big current. The other thing I noticed, too, when you have a lot of water moving, you don't have a lot of crap floating in the water. You don't tend to run into those tremendous big floating masses of weeds and grass and
it'll condense it down,
eelgrass and all that. It funnels that stuff into a main thoroughfare, and this stuff just is blowing out of there. So when you have really soft tides and not a lot of water moving, not a lot of current, that stuff begins to build up and stack up, and you can see those rafts and those islands of stuff floating out there. You get them big scum lines, you get them big debris lines. So that's not going to be the case tomorrow. On the flip, next Friday the 30th, Tommy, we have a low tide of a plus 3.3, only going up to a 7.6. So substantially less water movement, man. Like 4.5, not even 4.5 feet of water.
Right. And
it's only going to take 5.5 hours to get there. So that's the other side of it. It takes 2 hours less of time and duration. So your flip around and your slack is going to come on quicker, and then you'll be right through it and then fish in the other direction. Or with water that soft, you can probably pull both directions all day long, doesn't matter, depending if you're, with structure and points and those types of things, know your area. But this also then is conducive to keeping the bait spread out. It doesn't really funnel them up at times. It may at the start of it or the end of it, but you only know that by, switching up your program and going after it. But it's fishable. We put that post out there just to get person's feedback, and some guys are very critical about if there's certain tides, man, I won't go. And other guys kind of like me and you, hey, the tide is what it is.
Right.
Your days to be on the water.
I'm in that boat.
Yeah, yeah. You're putting that boat in the water, we're going fishing. So it can be done. We'll have Mike Ainsworth on the phone here in a little while.
You know, and so just on that note, you know, reading the tides is one thing, but it's really location dependent because, you know, depending on the land features and the depth, you know, you could have certain points that jut out. You can have a shallow bar, and all of that affects the current in a given area. And so, you know, when I'm on the boat, I'm typically looking on my Ray Marine Axiom Pro, and I'm looking at the current data along with the tide data. But if you're just, you know, you're sitting at home in your chair and you want to pull up just kind of a website that I use, it's deepzoom.com, DEEPZOOM, and they've got all of the current data. So you can go find the nearest current buoy that's going to report that out in the area that you're going to fish, and it's going to show you the whole tide profile. So you'll know, you know, when the low slack is, when the high slack is, max ebb, max flood. And I really, you know, I kind of look at the tides, and then I switch right over to current, and I'm using that to really hone in, you know, what that water is going to be doing in the area that I'm prospecting in.
Yeah. Good call. Deepzoom.com. Definitely worth your time. Lots of folks checking in here. Appreciate everybody saying hello. Matt, never caught a halibut, huh? Boy, long overdue. Arthur, good to see you back on here. KJ, yeah, got the full moon. You're right. Yep, definitely moon driven. Would you tell me, Tommy? Quarter moon?
Yeah,
soft
quarter
tides,
moon's
right?
less tide, yep.
So we got a lot of activity on here tonight. We're going to try to answer as many questions as you guys may have. I'm anticipating, Tommy, as we get into the bear conversation, perhaps for those that follow us that are more avid in the hunting realm, they may have a few
I'm excited to see all the passionate comments.
Yeah, there's going to be some passion. I would say they're going to go pretty soft on Annemarie tonight, and you should. She is the WDFW wildlife biologist doing research and collecting data that, again, U.S. Fish and Wildlife is the lead agency that really runs and spearheads these programs. And yeah, they call it recovery effort. Yes, it's Grizzlies, but it's in recovery. And they have a process that they're set forth, and they're trying to achieve certain goals. And yeah, they have a certain number ideal that they want on the landscape, and that's just part of their management plan. If you really want to be pissed off, put your effort into the wolves program. Okay, the Grizzlies you're going to find are kind of not a huge impact, but I'll let you guys.
I do love the diverse set of viewers that we have.
Absolutely.
You got everybody from those that understand and they understand that recovery, right? And then you got those that are looking to recover their 180 grain AccuBond from the skull of that bear, right? And you got everybody in between.
Look, I'm not a bear hugger. I'm just saying that if you want to put your stakes into something and be pissed off, the wolf program should get you much more worked up than the handful of Grizzlies that we're going to be speaking of over the next couple weeks. And again, I think you're going to be very surprised. Tonight it's going to be more so about the grizzly interaction with humans and kind of some things to be aware of if you are a hunter, a hiker, a camper, even snowmobiling in the wintertime as they winter over in that area if they haven't hibernated. Things to be aware of. Okay, next week we really drill down on the effects they have on some of our other animals, how they intermingle with black bear, cougar, wolves, coyotes. There's a lot of predators in Washington State that folks need to be aware of, and grizzlies is now one of them that we need to be educated on. So, all right, with that, we're going to jump out for a couple-minute break. Stick with us through the break. When we come back, part 2, Tommy, of our Neah Bay Chinook outing, You, Me, and the Beard. This is our Over the Rail segment, our weekly Over the Rail segment presented by Defiance Marine. Over the Rail segment, we come back right here at Fish Hunt Northwest.
Defiance Marine is the one-stop shop for the Pacific Northwest angler. Whether you are looking for a small skiff to fish the Sound or rivers or a huge offshore tuna machine, Defiance Marine has it. At Defiance Marine, be sure to power your boat with a Honda outboard package. Take advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty on your Honda outboards. Our service department is always here to help and serve you as the customer. Did you know Defiance Marine has boat financing experts to help get you the best term rates on your new boat purchase? If you need financing for that new boat, call us today. We guarantee the best price, best service on a repower for your current boat. Defiance Marine is a Honda Premier dealership and one of the largest on the West Coast. Defiance Marine also carries all the gear that you will need. Everything from auxiliary kicker motors to fishing tackle and bait. Defiance Marine has certified technicians that are top-notch at their job. Some of the best in the Pacific Northwest at evaluating your boat issues and problems. Stop in today or give us a call for all your needs at Defiance Marine.
Today, the need for quality private security services is at an all-time high. Contract Security Service provides day-to-day peace of mind as they protect people and property. Here at Phoenix, we provide service for multiple state and federal contracts with services ranging from uniform, patrol, alarm monitoring, canine detection, executive protection, as well as investigative work. Phoenix client management models are built on understanding our clients' security needs and responding with a tailored program that is best fit for them. Phoenix provides excellent customer service through well-trained, highly motivated security professionals. Recruiting highly qualified officers is the first step in building a strong team. Currently, we are comprised of 70% prior law enforcement and military veterans. If you are prior military or law enforcement, go to www.phoenixprotectivecorps.com and apply today.
That's good.
This rigger come all the way up?
No, I had to stop it because it was. Got him. There you go. There we go. Nicely done.
Oh, yeah. Another chunko, man. Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
Dude.
Man, these things are just so fat.
Oh, my God. Hell yes. Another hit. Cool.
Here, we got it. Oh, yeah. Here, let me make him go to sleep first.
Do that. There you go.
You didn't quite get the message. There we go. I think you got it that time.
Dude, that one wasn't coming off.
Okay, here, hold the slasher.
Yep. Oh yeah, look at that. It's a freaking twin.
That's a fish right there. That's a hog. Right at 41. Oh yeah. Drop another point here. Boom. Fish.
Hot fish on bait, Tommy.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Right. Do this. Good buddy. Around this way.
Yep.
Switch.
Right out of the mouth.
That's perfect timing. Woo! There we go.
Ooh. She's a trophy one.
Yes, she is.
That is a nice fatty hen right there.
Look at that.
The Posky,
Yeah.
the Posky's blind Chovy. Look at her, man.
There you go.
Good one.
Hatchery fish too.
Yeah,
Quality
yeah.
hatchery fish out here.
Yeah.
Look at that. Woo! That was on the Pofsky's chartreuse brine anchovy in a helmet. Oh, and the home release worked fantastic. Look at that bad boy. Good fish, bud. Again, not even a minute in the clip.
Yes, sir.
And they're hammering the chovies today.
Hammering.
Yes. Shallow water. What's up, buddy? Looks like a good fish, huh? Yeah. Time is it? This bite started about
11:20.
What is it?
11:20.
Started about a half hour ago. What did we say? 10:30.
Yep.
That's pretty good. Oh yeah, there you go. A little taste of the hell yeah. There's 3 fish that not even in the freaking clip for a minute. That's aggressive. Flushing. Ooh, that's ooh.
There you go.
Oh,
Nice work, brother.
Look at that guy. Oh,
There we go.
yeah. That's what we're talking about.
Yep. Chewing the bait.
Doing the bait. Yes. Arr. Look at that fish. That's one of the nicer ones he's done. Hell yeah, it took off. Look at him. He's ornery. I think the camera doing this good picture. We gotta get that bait back out there.
There we go.
Yep.
That's a hatchery.
Go ahead.
Got it. Oh, shoot. Oh, shoot. Sea legs.
Yeah. Oh, beauty. Looked it out of the clip again. I mean, it was killing line like a mofo. Right up to the surface and the my flasher popped, so I had good, straight tension.
Right.
I don't get it.
I don't get it either. Don't do that.
There we go. There we go. There we go.
Let him eat it. Let him eat it. Yeah, baby!
Took it right out of the clip and it got down. Too bad.
Where you at?
I'm right in my boat.
Turn on that downrider. Turn left, Jordan. Turn right. Or turn right. Turn right. Turn right. Turn right. Turn right. Turn right. Real big. We'll kick it down a notch. Yep, there we go. Yep. Okay, Nate, that's it.
Over here, George. Don't want the big one, but still. Little guy.
Coming in here. Net. honey?
Yep. This guy's going back.
Not legal?
No, look at him.
Oh yeah, throw him back. He's a little bit bigger.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That's a whole lot bigger.
We'll keep him.
Heck yeah. Double.
Double.
Damn, I didn't think small fish existed out here. Holy cow, that is exciting.
Oh yeah.
Put back on that for one. Wow. This one chewed forever. The anchovy bite has been on. I mean, I don't think we've trolled an anchovy more than
5 minutes?
yeah, at the most, right? This one here was maybe 3 to 4 minutes again. This really feels like a good fish. We've been getting some nice fish, but this one is pretty stout.
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 Stout like Tommy.
Stout like Tommy. Yes. Big Tommy fish. Woo, man. These chovies are working today, Tommy.
Where did you get these chovies from, Blaine?
Well, none other than Patrick Gaffney himself, Harbor Herring chovies.
Right.
Heck yeah.
They're just perfect, man. They're shiny, they've got all their scale.
Look how far out the
Glory
is. Keep your head down. Oh, yeah. Oh, baby. Huh? That thing is a... What?
The suspense is killing me.
Yeah.
Like the bite was like, you know, a little blackmouth bite. Like it just looked.
I just let him
Like-
chew.
yeah.
And
Oh,
then
look! You see his tail? Oh, baby.
I put the,
Oh,
yeah.
baby, see his tail?
Yeah,
There we go.
that's what I'm talking about. Woo! Come on, buddy. Here he comes, Tommy.
There we go.
Here he comes, buddy. Oh, yeah.
There we go. That's cool. Yeah, bring him in. Oh, sir, nice fish, Dwayne.
Yeah, bud.
Yes, sir.
There you go.
In the net, baby.
Oh, look at that
Nice
guy.
work.
Woo!
Look at that.
No wonder he killed line.
Can you hold that for a second?
Oh.
Switch me, go left.
Reasons to get
There
the
we go.
tendonitis fired up.
Yeah, no kidding.
Dude.
Hello. Hello.
Stout are these fish.
Yes. Oh, yeah. You hear that hollow thunk?
Yep.
Yes.
Hatchery fish.
Oh, dude, that's a nice hatchery fish.
You
Get
think?
this thing out.
Look at that.
Look at this.
The way he chewed on that bait. Oh my
Dude.
goodness.
Dude, look at that. That's what I'm talking about right
That's
there.
what we love.
That is just perfect.
Look at that guy.
Look at that.
They are loving the chovies today.
Turn to the right a little bit. That's good.
What are you doing? I got the net.
Coming in hot. Where's the net?
I'm coming.
just about to say I can't even get the blood cleaned off the deck.
You're gonna hear her switch me.
Yep, go around. Over your head. Here you go. Uh-huh. Purple.
We need to go into neutral. They're on ass right now.
You get it, George?
Yep.
Okay. Bon Chovy. There you go.
Oh, got him. Nice. There we go. Wham bam, thank you, ma'am.
Another hatchery. I don't think we got a wild today.
I don't think we did.
I think we got 6 hatchery fish.
Good.
And some of them are pretty damn big.
I know.
Pretty
I know.
nice fish.
That was pretty quick though. We got all of those fish in about the last hour and 15 minutes.
So yesterday,
Yeah.
we got over here, the bite really started taking off about 10 o'clock. We came out here early this morning with nothing happening. We had the conversation, well, about 10:30. If it's not going to happen at 10:30,
Right.
we may not see a bite. And man, it was like somebody set the watch, 10:30,
Yep.
boom.
Boom, boom, boom. One after the other. As fast as you could get the bait in the water.
As you get the bait
it was
in the water,
on.
Couldn't even get the rod in the rod holder, and they're ripping it out of your hand. So,
The magic right here.
yeah.
Yep.
Herring or anchovy helmet,
Yep. Harbor anchovy.
harbor anchovy, brined up, possibly
Yeah.
fire brine. The chartreuse is working, the natural was working.
Yeah.
Just fantastic stuff. So.
Can't beat it.
That's a wrap, buddy.
Hey, nice work, brother.
Oh, strong work, Skipper. There we go.
Alrighty, let's put the wood shampoo to him and put him to bed.
Yep, let's do that. Well, there you go, Tommy. Nicely done, man.
Nice work, brother.
That was a good couple days. Boy,
Yeah.
I tell you, you get on them, you figure out what they want.
Yeah, it's just fast and furious. And, you know, once that bite really gets going,
Yeah.
it just doesn't stop. And as soon as you can get the gear down, you're bit. And so it really pays to be efficient, right?
Yeah.
As soon as you land that one fish, get the riggers back in the water, get the flashers back, the spoons back, the hoochies back.
Whatever it is.
Get it
you're
back
using,
down there,
whatever
and
it is
boom,
that's
you're hooked
working.
up again.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
pretty phenomenal.
A lot of guys complain about having our clickers on, but you know what?
Wait now. Hold on.
Yeah.
We did not have our clicker on. You.
We can rewind the videotape when you're cranking your reel.
And the beard.
It's
okay?
making some
Yes,
noise,
I
okay,
agree.
a couple times, right?
Yeah. No, we did it for your benefit.
Yeah. So
All of your benefit, yeah.
One thing I call that the fish alarm. You know, if you're not eyes on your rod constantly, you turn that clicker on, and all of a sudden you hear that line peeling off. It gets your attention. You got to remember to turn it off when you're fighting the fish, kids. It drives people watching videos crazy.
Yeah, it
apparently,
does, it
Tommy.
does,
So,
it does.
hey, we had a great time out there. We definitely got into some decent fish, no doubt about it. They are so full of fat and tasty. I mean,
They are. And then on the
quality fish.
And then between those 2 days, we got a lot of fish on that two-faced green spoon.
Yes, we did.
Jeff Wilson chimed in. He said that's working at possession as well.
Oh, nice.
And I think you're going to run that spoon tomorrow, aren't you?
I am running that spoon tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm dropping in 2 things right from the get. Actually, so I'm down 1 downrigger right now. Just things happen. So 2 downriggers, 2 lead rods out the back, going for resident coho as we're on the troll. But then 2 downriggers. I'm going to start ace high fly herring 8 pattern on one side and that 2-faced green glow spoon on the other. The size 3 is going to get it done. So we'll see how that goes. I'm getting mixed reports out there. Well, we got Ainsworth coming on here after the break.
Yeah, we're gonna break it down.
We'll
We got to get Mitch's son out there. Mitch is chiming in. His 11-year-old
wants to get his boy
is
out
just
there.
watching this, drooling.
Yeah.
He wants to get a piece of this. We got to get him out there.
Part of the team.
Yeah.
Get the team, get the coach out there, get the chef out there. I mean,
That's
we get them
right.
all together. So, okay, we are jumping out for a couple-minute break here. We come back. We're going to dial this in with Puget Sound on our minds. I'm hitting the waters tomorrow morning with some buddies, and a few of our buds have been out there as of late. Matt Messing, Mike Ainsworth, First Light Guide Service has been out there day in and day out grinding away, finding some Chinook, finding success on resident coho as well. If you follow Mike on social media, you're going to see the pictures he's posted the last couple of days, and some of these kings, mid-teeners and awful dang nice. So Nothing to sneeze at in that regard. So we'll jump out for a couple-minute break, come back in studio here. We will have Mike Ainsworth, First Light Guide Service, on the phone right here at Fish Hunt Northwest.
An outdoor emporium, is the largest local outfitter in the Northwest since 1975, providing thousands of people affordable outdoor gear. This summer, make your next outdoor adventure more affordable by shopping at our warehouse-style pricing. We are a local Scotty dealer, offering sales, service, and repair. Located in Fife and Seattle, come visit us today. The outdoors await you.
It's easier than ever to browse homes and connect with an agent on the go with Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate's mobile app. With the app, your home search is synced across all of your devices, so you can pick up your home search anytime, anywhere. Take full advantage of an enriched, mobile-optimized map search experience. Use location services to quickly find homes near you that match your search criteria. Draw your own map boundaries to find homes in a specific area, and apply layers to view school districts, neighborhoods, zip codes, and more. The app's user-friendly design makes it easier than ever to find a home you'll love. Narrow down your search results, save your search criteria, and save your favorite homes. You can browse your saved homes in a list view that puts photos and key details like price and square footage right at your fingertips. Or check out your saved homes displayed on the map.
Yep, for sure. Oh yeah, big fish. Yeah, buddy. Nice fish. Oh, beauty. Gorgeous fish.
Bobby's on the board.
We got a good one.
Oh yeah. Oh. Oh, geez, come on.
Nice fish. Nice fish.
Hey, welcome back in studio to New England Tommy Donlin. As we stroll our way through the show, Tommy Chinook has been on our tongues as of late.
Yeah.
Both in discussion in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how can you not eat
on
those
the
things?
coast and the Sound?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so we're going to reel it in here in the Puget Sound, our backyard, so to speak. Fisheries, what you need to know, presented by Better Homes and Gardens Pacific Commons Real Estate. And our guest this evening, none other than Mike Ainsworth, First Light Guide Service, no stranger to the show. Still a stranger in studio, I believe.
We got to change that.
Can't get him to get down here. He's far too busy, right?
Well, you got to bring in the right beer. It sounds like there's a special type of beer required to bait him into the
Zimas
studio.
and White Claws is what the rumor says.
Mike Certic Special.
Yeah, Certic Special. Zimas and White Claws. Tommy said it, not me. All right. Hey, Ainsworth, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for taking time out this evening. I know you're busy. I know you're getting back on the water tomorrow. Let's kind of talk about how it's been going out there. Let's focus in on today. I mean, today is kind of an example of what I think we can experience tomorrow. Pretty much similar tide pattern and volume. Yep. How did your day go overall and encounters on fish?
We did our norm. I'm a big fan of Jeff Head. I think if you kind of know the program, you can definitely make that happen out there. But we hit it up, and it kind of fell on its face a little bit today. The Resi cohos were not wanting to play. We were getting some encounters with the Chinook, but unfortunately, we were having some bad luck with keeping them pinned, and as is a lot of times with a barbless hook.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But we were hooking them. We just couldn't make them land. The ones we didn't land, of course, were of the wild variety. Mm-hmm. So tossed them back, and then knowing the tides, obviously fishing it on and off for a number of years, I knew at the tide was ripping, and I've done really well up north when that is happening. So I decided to run up to Pilot Point and do that nice long troll between Pilot and Point No Point, and it paid off for us. We put some fish in the boat, ran into a few more wild Chinook, and so we obviously tossed those bad boys back. And but yeah, so we finished strong. Started a little slow, but ended up coming out on top.
So this is a good question, Mike. When it's slow, you got a couple choices to make, right? Because you can stay in the same area and change your tactic, or you can completely move locations like you did today in this instance, right? And then boom, you found the fish. How do you make that determination as to whether to stick and stay in the spot you're in and just maybe change your speed or change your lure or your flasher or your depth, or move to a completely different spot? How do you decide that?
The guys obviously have a big advantage, right? We have a huge network of people, and not necessarily just other guides. I've got some really good buddies out there, local guys that fish it year round, and we all keep in communication. So I would definitely say make friends. There was no real hot tip or bite, that came across the old text tool there. So I just, like I said, just kind of my little feather in my hat from past experiences told me that was the place to be. I had some other buddies that ran up there north right about the same time, but they weren't seeing it. But I just had the confidence in, like I said, what was going on and what I was seeing on my fish finders and stuff, that I kind of really had a feeling that it was going to go off. And sure enough, we had a good 30, 40-minute window where the fish, every pass that we made, we got into fish. So
nice.
Yeah, that's very respectable. About how late or deep into that tide did you make that decision to run north? Were you an hour left in it or midway?
Yeah. So I ran up earlier because I wanted to, just in case the bite went off a little earlier. So we were about an hour and a half before the slack tide change.
Okay.
And like I said, it was just like a 30, 40-minute window, and the tide was really ripping. So I cut loose of the surface rod. I cut loose of my third downrigger, and we literally ran 2 downriggers to obviously, alleviate the tangles and really focus on dragging the bottom. We picked up a coho. I mean, to tell you how strong the current is down there, all the fish are right down on the deck when that current's pushing that hard.
Sure.
We picked up a beautiful coho down there at 180 feet on the cable. So
wow.
How about that?
Yeah. So we thought it was a small Chinook, but ended up being a nice early ocean coho. So
nice. Well, any consistency in patterns, presentation, obviously flasher of whatever color, and then what are you dragging behind it? Hoochies, spoons, and getting it done, length of leader, any particular scent?
Yeah, it's funny, this last couple seasons, I've always been a pretty big fan of the Olympic tackle flies. I love being able to run a naked lure without having to applicate the bait and all that stuff. There's so much flash and UV in those lures, so been a big fan of those. And then, but this last couple seasons, I've really been going back to the old school techniques of the hoochies and strips of fire brine herring, and just that's really the last 2 seasons. It's really been getting it done. So I run the Pro Troll flashers with the fin on them, and that allows you to troll at a slower speed, but really get a good kick out of that flasher to make that hoochie come alive. And that's been getting it done for us.
Yeah. So on that point, that's interesting to me, Mike, because I never really considered going to the ones that have that agitator fin on them. What speed does that allow you to troll down to and still get rotation off the flasher?
Well, I say you can go slower, but I'm still keeping it up at a higher speed. So I can only imagine. Like, I've thrown it over the side to see what it does, and it's whipping. So I'm trolling pretty fast. I'm doing like 2.8 to 3 knots, and obviously, as you know, that kind of depends on what the current's doing, and so obviously running up to point, no point, and all pilot point, especially with that last little bit of outgoing tide, that current's really kicking. Yeah. So we were just in gear and doing probably 3.5 knots today.
Yeah.
And I didn't even, to me, I don't even blink an eye at that point. We're just going with the flow, and I know my stuff's working good because I got good scope on my downrigger cables, and obviously it was working because we were getting bit. So.
That's a hell of a pro tip right there, Mike. I mean, there's just so many people in Puget Sound that are trying to catch that same Chinook salmon, right? And I feel like you got to have something in your tackle box that's going to mix it up and provide a different presentation. So, going with an agitator or going with like a Pro Troll blinky flasher or, something that's not well permeated on every boat out there, might just give you the advantage when the bite's tough. So that's pretty awesome. Yeah,
I'm running the double trouble, the agitator fin and the blinky. So it's, I mean, for me, it's getting it done. I'm passing people left and right, and I don't know. For some reason, people think the Chinook are slow and lazy, but I know that not to be the case. From when I've run plugs. I'm running plugs at 3.5 to 4 knots, and and obviously they're biting it. I mean, they're not as slow as people think. So I would say kick it up, and you cover a lot more ground that way, and see what happens.
Well, I think that's one of the top mistakes people make because, like we've mentioned before, they look at the speed over ground and they go, oh my gosh, I'm going 2.5 knots. I got to slow down. And then all of a sudden they don't realize it. Their gear's not working, right? That flasher is no longer rotating.
They bring it up and it's all tangled. It's like, what happened?
Right.
Like, well, the current's doing 2 knots, so you're doing half a knot faster. So.
Yep. All very valid points there, Mr. Ainsworth. Any openings coming up as we work our way into August and through August? I know you're going to be out there chasing those coho and eventually some of these pink salmon coming in, and kings as long as they let us. Any openings and opportunity to get on your boat?
We got a few, very limited, but I know we got more afternoon trips open than mornings. But sometimes it's kind of funny how those afternoons will be better than morning trips.
Yeah.
So.
Seen that. Yep. Best place for folks to track you down? Webpage, Facebook.
Facebook, Instagram. All the above. First Light Guide Service. You can reach me at via text or phone, voicemail, 206-817-0394.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Always appreciate your time, mister. I know you're busy, and the folks love to hear from you. You always have insightful bits of information that actually help people put fish in their box, so we thank you for that.
Yeah. Like I said, if anybody even wants some intel, if I'm out on the water, feel free to hit me up. I'm not shy about giving out some intel.
Right
on, brother.
Right on, man. Well, might see you out there tomorrow morning, bud.
Okay. You guys have a good one.
Yep,
yeah, you too. Tight lines.
See ya.
Thanks.
All right, Will.
Awesome information.
Yep, always, right? That's why we keep having him come back. He's in our backyard. He's getting it done. He fishes actually all over the place, and this time of year you can find him day in and day out, grinding away up there area 10, throws crab pots out when it's open days for crab, and just a really good guy to fish with, very knowledgeable, forthcoming with information. He basically has a floating classroom. He's one of those guys, you step on the boat, Tommy, you can ask him stuff all day long. He's just going to tell you.
Yeah.
Mike's going to get his fish. He don't care.
Yeah.
It's a big Puget Sound out there. He knows that, right?
Yep, so lots of fish moving through.
Willing to share.
It's pretty cool.
Yep, really good stuff. All right, we will jump out for a quick break. Time to talk a little bear, Tommy.
Let's do it.
Get into some bear. So we'll jump out for a quick break. We come back. We are going to have Annemarie Prince from WDFW, wildlife biologist, on the phone answering some of your berry questions, and we'll get into the conversation with her learn what's going on here in Washington State as it relates to grizzly bears in Washington State right after this break, right here at Fish Hunt Northwest.
A Northwest favorite for almost 40 years, Arima boats are manufactured with pride right here in Bremerton, Washington. Arima Boats offers all of our boats with Honda outboard packages so that you can take full advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty from your Honda outboard. With literally thousands of Arima boats on the water throughout the Pacific Northwest, Arima boats are a proven hull design that offers incredible fuel economy and all of the amenities that a serious angler is looking for. All Arima boats are built without any structural wood materials. That is why we back our boats with a lifetime warranty. All of our Arima boats are designed to maximize deck space while also providing ample seating. Contact us today at Arima Boats for all your boating needs and let us help you get out on the water.
End of Watch Ride to Remember is a group from the state of Washington traveling across the country to honor fallen officers from 2019. End of Watch organizer Jagrut Shah says they want to show departments who've lost partners and friends they are not alone.
I wanted to bridge this gap that we have and bring back to the department, let the deputies or the officers know that their lost has not been forgotten.
In 2019, 146 officers were killed in the line of duty, and End of Watch Ride to Remember is on a mission to pay their respects to each of them.
For us, it's just important realizing that the men and women in blue everywhere should remember that they haven't been forgotten. We're not forgetting them. We want the families to know that their loved ones have not been forgotten.
Hey, welcome back, Fish Hunt Northwest. Wayne England, Tommy Donlin here in studio, and it's time to talk a little bear.
Yeah.
Tommy.
We're going to bear all in this discussion.
We are going to bear all.
Oh, sorry, that was a horrible joke.
That was terrible.
This is the best I could come up with.
It doesn't surprise
on
me.
the spot.
That engineer brain is not very comedic. That being said, first time on the show, and we are very thankful that she's taken time out this evening. Annemarie Prince, WDFW wildlife biologist, Ferry in Stevens County, other side of the state, Tommy. She just was telling us at the break, folks, it's just a bit smoky over there with all that's going on. First of all, welcome to the show, Annemarie.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. So as I had alluded to at the start of the show, WDFW had put out kind of an email blast and some announcements via their webpage that they were successful. You folks, along with U.S. Fish and Wildlife, were successful in collaring the first female grizzly bear in Washington State. So that was kind of newsworthy, you know, and Tommy and I pick up on stories like that, and our show being so well-rounded and all the diversity of content we try to cover, this is one that caught our attention. And we certainly wanted to make sure we got the folks who are involved with this on the phone for content for the show, because there's a lot of really good information here. So first, I just want to thank you for taking the time to jump on this evening.
Yeah, no problem. Happy to do it.
Okay, so WDFW's involvement in this is kind of to what level? What would you say U.S. Fish and Wildlife is the lead agency involved with this grizzly bear recovery and information, or what part are you folks playing in regards to this program?
Yeah, so a bunch of the hands-on stuff with bears, that's led by U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. And because grizzly bears are a federally threatened species, they're state endangered, but because they're federally listed, the Fish and Wildlife Service has the lead over management of the species. And so they do all of the trapping. And then what we do is we help survey along with the Kalispell tribe and the Colville National Forest in the Washington portion. So we'll do surveys for grizzly bears, which is basically putting out barbed wire around trees in the woods and pouring fermented fish and cow's blood in the middle, and then getting bears to come visit it and leave us a hair sample. And then what that does is we collect all the hair samples, hopefully get some DNA, and then we give that to the Fish and Wildlife Service so we can see how many individual bears at a minimum we have using the state.
Yeah, so this is interesting. I think a lot of people, didn't even know that we had grizzly bears in the state of Washington. And there's been some talk about, reintroduction in certain states. I think we covered that story a few months back. But can you talk have these bears always been there? Is it they're coming down from Canada? I mean, these bears are definitely not ones that have been reintroduced to this area. Can you talk a little bit about that, and what kind of areas are you finding these grizzly bears in?
Yeah, so we did not put the grizzly bears in northeastern Washington. Yeah, so they come down from British Columbia, they wander over from Idaho, and so across the grizzly bear range, grizzly bears were extirpated from a lot of their range due to harvest and trapping and sort of the same old story with a lot of species that get on the endangered species list. And so, as they recover, they wander into Washington in that northeastern corner, and they're mostly found in Pend Oreille County. And so the grizzly bear recovery area is mostly northern Pend Oreille County. It includes the Salmon Priest Wilderness area and extends a little bit outside of that. But we have detected grizzly bears outside of the designated quote unquote recovery area. And then the other place where we get grizzly bears that come in from Canada every once in a while is in what we call the wedge. So it's GMU 105, if anybody's familiar with that. And it's that little chunk of land in between the Kettle River and the Columbia River. And so we get fairly regular reports, or people get them on their game cams. We actually had some fishermen, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 years ago, send us a picture of some grizzlies on the banks of the Columbia, and they took the pictures from their boat. And so, and so it's mostly Pend Oreille County, so GMU 113, GMU 105, and then every once in a while, one will cross the Pend Oreille River into 117 or 111, but they don't spend much time there and they go back.
Do we have an idea of what the population actually looks like? I think I read in that report there's a population average growth of about 2.9 or roughly 3%. But do we have an idea of how many bears there are within this recovery zone and/or true resident population of Washington State versus transient bears?
Yeah, so we have a pretty good guess about how many bears occupy both Washington and Idaho, sort of cross back and forth. And that's about 50 bears. And there's about just as many in the BC portion as well. We're not sure how many, spend a lot of their time in Washington. So that's the neat thing about these callers, is they can sort of tell us where these bears are divvying up their time. And so we don't know how many, truly live in Washington. And I imagine this bear will probably spend some time in Idaho as well, or maybe up in BC. Only time will tell. But yeah, as far as just in Washington, we're not sure. I mean, I would say, I don't know, there's probably at least 15 or so bears that spend some time in Washington, even if it's just to hop over the line.
Yeah, interesting. What do you want from WDFW's perspective? What would you like folks to know or be aware of with bears in that particular region of our state? I mean, it can be a pretty active area when we start looking, the overall landscape of hikers, mountain bikers, campers, obviously in the fall, hunters, there could be bear encounters. What do people need to know entering that part of our region as it relates to grizzly bears now being more prominent, perhaps?
Yeah, so I still always tell people there's way more black bears than grizzly bears in there. And so, you know, everything you're doing to avoid attracting a black bear to your camp or checking you out while you're hiking is the same stuff you're going to do for grizzly bears. And so, you know, my biggest thing, I talk to people a lot about carrying bear spray. And so, you know, carrying bear spray, having it handy, and then also knowing how to use it. And so over on this side, we do a lot of bear spray demonstrations and training where people can spray the inert canisters and get a feel for how that works. But there's also lots of videos online that show you, you know, how to deploy bear spray and when to deploy bear spray and all that stuff. You know, the other stuff is the typical things you hear from all biologists and a lot of people out there. You know, keep a clean camp, pick your garbage up. You know, for homeowners, store your garbage in hard-sided buildings like sheds. Bears can easily get into garbage cans if they're unsecured. Electric fencing works great, especially around chicken coops, which it seems like every wild animal on the planet loves chickens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're like the Skittles of the
about the same relative size too.
Oh yeah.
To that grizzly bear.
Yeah. You know, make noise while you're hiking. We always recommend hiking in groups, especially when you're around like creeks and stuff like that can be loud, make extra noise. Mm-hmm. Don't keep food in your tent. Put your food when you're camping. There's a lot of food lockers. So those like metal bear-proof lockers are all over the place in the Colville National Forest over there by Sullivan Lake. So that's really cool. And then don't leave your cooler out. Coolers are not bear-proof. They do have bear-proof coolers now, but it's not just the cooler. It has to have 2 padlocks on it to make it bear-proof. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so what I hear you saying, Annemarie, is don't kick Dwayne in the shin and run. That's probably not your leading in position interacting with bears.
That is your default mechanism.
Right, I know, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So you mentioned food a little bit, and I think this may surprise people a little bit, but what is the diet of these bears up in the northeast corner of the state?
Yeah. So, you know, we at WDFW haven't specifically done a diet study. I know the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service has done a bit of that. Mm-hmm. But in most areas, you know, grizzly bears and black bears eat a lot of vegetation. Mm-hmm. You know, they're omnivores, so they do eat meat and plants, but I think a lot of places they end up eating a lot of plants. You know, in the spring, I'm sure they eat some elk calves and moose calves and deer fawns, but there's so few grizzly bears that, you know, they're not having any sort of population level impact there. And then also in the fall, they'll pick up more meat by eating like hunter gut piles or, you know, maybe wounded game that's lost or something like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, there is definitely great information you've brought here this evening for folks to be aware of. You know, I think one of the biggest takeaways here is, as you mentioned, you know, very much as it applies to black bear, the crossover is so similar, same. To your knowledge, you guys have not had any reports or encounters of like actual grizzly bear human encounter with any type of devastating results or animals being taken from homes or any type of livestock or anything?
We haven't. We had a suspected depredation on a cow in the wedge. But, you know, there was little evidence there, and it's really hard to say. We set a trap and a camera, but nothing ever came back to it. But that's the only instance I know about. And as far as human interactions, no, we haven't had any, at least not reported to us, which I think they would be reported. We have had encounters with black bears in that area. And so those have, the 2 I know about, I'm sure there's been more, have been dogs off leash, you know, just romping around, being dogs, find a bear and then get scared and hightail it back to owner. And then there's a bear behind running right to the owner.
Right.
But as far as grizzly bears, no, I haven't heard of anything. And I get trail cameras pictures sent to me from hunters in that area of grizzly bears on camera, but I've never had any reports of any close encounter while people are out there hunting or doing anything.
That depredation was that problematic wedge pack is what it was.
Yeah, the wolf pack.
They've been doing it for a while. So, do you have something to say?
No, yeah. I was looking at this picture that Annemarie, we're showing your picture of you in the cage with the bear after it's been tranked. And I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to go in there.
It wakes up, right? Yeah.
I'm just looking at it going, nope, I'm good.
Yeah, she trusts her medication.
Yeah.
That's a black bear in that picture, and it was pretty darn zonked out at that point. Yeah, I jumped out before it started twitching its ears.
Yeah,
it's a good idea.
Good call. Well, hey, we want to thank you very much for taking the time this evening. I know you, as many folks with WDFW, are extremely busy, but your information is valuable, and folks need to hear what it is, the programs you're involved with, and some of the educational components we can bring from those programs forward to the population. So when we do have folks out there enjoying the wilderness, as we should, in those public land areas, we can do our best to not have bear encounters, and if by chance we do, we know exactly what to do. So really appreciate your time this evening, Annemarie, and we look forward to the second part of this next week with U.S. Fish and Wildlife. This is going to be a great segment.
Yep, no problem. It's a pleasure, and if folks ever need my contact info, you can find it on our website, so don't hesitate to reach out.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Well, thanks again. Have a great evening.
Yeah, you too.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Bye.
There you go, Tommy. Part one. Just kind of an overview, and just something for folks to be aware of. And I think folks are responding on here in the old messaging, and they appreciate that. Gordon says, put bells on your
bells
horses.
Yep.
Put bells.
Some of the horses
the beard
come with
is
balls.
losing it over there.
Some of the horses, they happen to come with balls.
Yeah, well, if you remove them and want to put them back, they may jingle. Right? All right, so we're going to jump out for a quick break.
Yeah, we
come back. Hey, that was presented by Phoenix Protective Corp. That was in our backyard segment, Tommy. I'm trying to remember to make sure we segue into those with our titles, and I continue to forget because I'm such an idiot. All right, in our backyard, grizzly bears. So we come back. It is time for our Bait Lab presentation presented by Max Lure, and you, my friend, rigging and baiting of your crab pots. This is a how-to in the Bait Lab rewind from last year. Exceptional. I mean, very, very well put together and really good information. Crabbing is upon us. There's a couple days per week in Area 10. If you happen to be up there fishing and have that opportunity, I strongly urge you to take full advantage of that. Other areas, man, crabbing's been good.
A2's been really good as well.
Just on fire, right? So this information you bring to the table is well worth paying attention to. This is going to definitely help you find success out there on the crab ground. So don't go anywhere. We'll jump out for a 2-minute break or so. We come back with Tommy Donlin in the Bait Lab for a Bait Lab rewind, rigging and baiting your crab pots, presented by Max Lure, right after this break here, Fish Hunt Northwest. Allied boats are built by West Coast fishermen for West Coast fishermen. Deep V 21-degree dead rise at the transom guarantees a smooth ride no matter the conditions. Allied offers all of our boats with Honda outboard packages so that you can take full advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty from your Honda outboard. Allied boats range from 19 to 32 foot in length, so no matter what type of heavy gauge boat you are looking for, we have it for you. All of our Corsair 21 foot and larger designs come standard with reverse chine that is welded inside and out with no extrusions below the waterline, so that you will never have to worry about corrosion problems down the road. Get out on the water today in a boat that you can trust and enjoy with Allied Boats. Contact us at Allied Boats today to learn much more about our incredible fishing machines.
New days, new beginnings, new friends, new loves, new dreams, new goals, new scenery, new job. No matter what the next chapter holds, Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate will be there to help you find the new that's right for your lifestyle at any stage of your life. Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate. Expect better.
Welcome back to Fish on Northwest. I'm Tommy Donlin. We are in the Bait Lab, brought to you by Bax Lure. We're going to talk about one of my favorite all-time pastimes tonight, and I'm going to give you basically my recipe for how I've been crabbing since I was a little kid. And it's pretty bulletproof, and the big thing is it's totally not expensive. I'm a big fan of the Danielson pots. They're cheap, they're simple. Sportco's running a sale right now. I think you can pick them up for like 16 bucks. Really cheap. So I want to start with the pot and kind of walk you through the entire system from A to Z. The first thing you'll notice about these pots is they are collapsible. And so when I go crabbing, right, it's in the state of Washington, it's 2 pots per person. You have 5 people on your boat, that's 10 pots. I'm absolutely, every time, gonna crab the maximum number of pots that I can to take advantage of the opportunity. So, you know, with 10 pots, if you're using the rigid pots, it gets, you know, unless you have a sizable deck space to work with, you need to be able to stack them. So I do like the Danielson pots for that. You know, as we look at this pot in particular, you're gonna notice basically it's just a square pot. You got 4 sides, 4 gates. Or doors, as we would call them. You know, the thing to think about here is with these doors, you know, sometimes you're going to be setting your pot in current. Sometimes you'll get like eelgrass that drifts through and catches your pot. And, you know, if we look at the table and we come down here, one of the things that you're going to notice on these pots is I've taken some pencil lead and I've wrapped it around the gate. And the reason for that is to keep that gate closed and keep the eelgrass, keep the current from catching it and kind of blowing it open. You want to make sure this stays closed. You don't want to, you know, bring that pot up and have those gates open, especially if for whatever reason your pot comes up, you know, cocked at an angle and maybe that door got blown open or locked open. You want to try to keep those doors shut. The other thing you're going to notice in the top of the pot here is basically by regulation you need to have some rot cord and a ring, and that's in the event that you lose that pot, you've got to allow those crab a way to escape. And I tell you what, the other reason that I like using the Danielson pots is they're inexpensive, and a lot of the pot selection, I do have nicer pots, trust me. I've got some commercial style round solid pots that I use from time to time, but a lot of it depends on, in my opinion, where you're crabbing. If you're crabbing in a high traffic area, I'm going to be running this pot all day long. And the reason for that is that, you know, you get people that decide that this pot is their pot and they will take your pot, i.e. steal it. Or I don't know if you guys have seen, there's just a lack of boating skill out there on the water these days. And I've watched guys recently just mow over buoys that were very visible in their line of their path. So I try to keep the costs down in the event that my pot experiences one of these traumatic events. The other thing is, if you are going to you know, set your pot overnight, or you're going to crab in anything that's, I would say anything that's over a half a knot of current, you really need to weigh your pot, especially these pots. These pots don't weigh anything. And so what I've got here is I've got a couple pieces of rebar, and it's really simple. These 2 pieces about, you know, it's the length of the crab pot and I've got 2 bars. I'm gonna set them up on opposite sides of the crab pot on the bottom, and really simple attachment. I'm just gonna get some heavy duty zip ties, and I'm gonna zip tie them to the bottom of the pot. Okay, now if I'm just going out for a day and I'm going to monitor my pots, or they're in an area that's, you know, not frequently traveled, there's not a lot of current, I'm not going to worry about trying to weight them with a whole lot of rebar. I'm just not as worried about losing that pot. But the rebar does make that pot stick to the ground. One of the things that I'm a big believer in is absolutely having really good bait, the freshest bait you can get, and then absolutely dousing it with the Potskie's crab and shrimp fuel. Okay, now there is definitely a system to how I run crab bait in the crab pots. I like to set my pots for about an hour and a half and then pull them. Okay, and so what I've got is I'll have a 5-gallon bucket, and I've got a whole bunch of bait in there. And what I'll do is before the trip, about a day and a half before, 2 days before, I'll take that bait out, I'll throw it all into the 5-gallon bucket, and then what I'll do is I'll take 2 bottles of the crab and shrimp fuel, and I will just douse the bait, put a lid on it, and just let it soak there for a day and a half, 2 days. And then when I go crabbing, I'm shoving these bags full of bait. Okay, and I mean, if you really stretch these bait bags out, you can get a whole tuna head in there if you want. But the thing that I want you to think about in terms of the bait and the size of these pots is when you put a tuna head inside of this pot and really fill up that space, sometimes you're blocking a door. So I don't like to put so much bait in here as to where I'm potentially, you know, keeping a door open, or I'm blocking crab from being able to come in because I've got that much bait in my pot. So there is a fine line that, you know, too much bait can really be not advantageous to catching crab. The other thing I'll say is I am really picky about making sure that when I put this bait bag in the middle of that pot, it's got to be smack dab in the middle. So I'm finding the absolute center line of this pot and making sure that the bait is hanging from that point in the pot. Okay, and then I'm just taking this long line clip and I'm clipping it off to the top. And when it's filled with bait, it's actually going to touch the bottom of the pot. So not only do you have, you know, really good bait, I use a lot of tuna bloodlines. If I have to, if I've gone through all my crab bait and I need to buy chicken, I will buy chicken, go to Winco, buy some really cheap chicken. But the thing is you've got a visual aspect to your bait. You've got hanging bait. They can visually see it. They've got something that they can pick at and they can eat. And then you've just doused it with Potskie's crab and shrimp fuel. So you've got a massive scent trail going away from your pot. So you've got instant scent, and then you've got that kind of resonating, you know, bait that's going to hang here, and they can see it, and they're going to continue to crawl in your pot that entire hour and a half. Now then the next thing I do is when I pull that pot, take the crab out, keep the keepers, throw the other ones away or back. I'll take that bait out. It's been washed out for about an hour and a half. I'll take the bait that's in the bucket that's got the crab and shrimp fuel all over it and just reload this thing. But I don't throw out the bait that I just took out. I'll put that back in the bucket. I mix that back in there and it sucks up this crab and shrimp fuel again. So you can reuse that bait. So you're not running out of bait every time you pull the pot and switch your bait in your bait bag. So that's why I really love this stuff. It allows you to crab all day without filling a 150 quart cooler full of crab bait. The other thing that I'll say is that, you know, the bags are great, but if you are going to run a box, make sure that when you put the box inside of the crab pot, make sure that it is in the absolute center of the pot. So what I'll do is I'll take just a little bungee and make sure that this thing is perfectly positioned in the center of that pot with this bungee. And that way I know I'm not blocking any doors or keeping a crab from coming in. But I do like the bait bags better. They're easier to pack, they're quicker, easier to dump it out, easier to handle. It's a lot easier to hang them in the pot. So I like that method. The other thing you're gonna notice that you've probably been looking at in this entire video and wondering, what in the heck does Tommy have on the table for his buoy setup? And I guess I'll start with the obvious. This is leaded line. Okay, this is 1/4 inch Sportco. They got a really good deal online, so I picked up a couple 600-foot spools. I've got a stainless steel carabiner with a kind of a thread locking nut. You know, they make some quick links and things like that, but I'm just you know, a double check, triple check kind of guy, and I've got to see that mechanical lock. I want to see that on there, and then the knot on here tying to this link is a San Diego knot, which is bulletproof. You're not going to get this undone. And so basically I'll take this, I'll attach it directly to the pot in the center. Some of the pots I do start, you know, with the Danielsons. I mean, believe it or not, this pot has seen a lot of sets. This pot right here is probably 8 years old. I mean, I've had this pot a long time. And so I do inspect the pots from time to time, and if I feel that the top of the pot is getting weak, I'll attach to a different point, or I'll hook multiple segments of the pot and then hook this onto the line itself before I throw the pot overboard. On the buoy, you're going to notice some PVC here. So you're looking at basically a field goal up top and a field goal on the bottom, and the only reason I do this is you're looking right at it so I can wrap the line around the buoy. It's self-contained. I'm not a big fan of keeping line on a different spool. I'm not a big fan of throwing it in the pot and then trying to sort it out later. This system works really well for me, and you know, up until the point of doing this how-to, I was the only guy on the water that had this system, but now that I'm sharing it with you guys, you're probably going to do the same thing. Do me a favor though, pick a different color. Do not paint the top of your buoys with the bright fluorescent orange. Thank you. But this works really well. Keeps the line together, and it kind of keeps each buoy independent, and I don't have to worry about it. The other thing I'll tell you is these are measured exactly. These shots of line on the buoys are measured, and what I do is I put the length of the rope on the bottom of the buoy. Okay, and so I know that when we're doing a set, if I want to do an extra deep set at 120 feet, I can look at the bottom of my buoy and I go, okay, this one's got 120, grab the one that's got 200 feet. Okay, grab that one, hook it onto the pot, chuck it, and then you're not sitting there going, oh, I wonder if it's going to hit bottom. Is it going to hit bottom? Oh, there goes my buoy. I guess not, right? So you don't ever have to play that guessing game. Always measure your line, know how much line you got on there. That'll give you a good indicator. Okay, that's it. We've covered A to Z on crabbing. Pretty simple. All of this is really cheap. It's a cheap way to crab, and it allows you to make a lot of setups. Now with that knowledge, good luck out on the water. Hope you enjoyed this how-to. Don't go very far. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back here on Fish Hunt Northwest.
Well, there you go, Tommy. Nicely done.
Yeah, thanks, sir. Sure? I noticed we got a couple questions here from Gordon Endicott. Yeah, Gordon, it is illegal for somebody else to pull your crab pot, even in Oregon. So you should get some documentation from ODFW that states otherwise, because, yeah, nobody, you know, otherwise, if those crab in your pot were technically not your crab,
don't belong to you
until they were in your boat, then nobody would set their own pot, right? Everybody'd be going out. I'd be pulling Dwayne's pots all day long. I wouldn't even set my own.
It's like, I'll just go check this pot. Oh, look at that 9 crab. Cool.
Yeah. But you did have a good point, Gordon. You know, the tuna bellies, that is probably, if I had to pick, you know, one crab bait that I was going to use for the rest of time, it would be, you know, I like to eat the tuna bellies, but, you know, the tuna bloodline, which also comes with the tuna, I'd cut that off. That is just, oh, man,
shrimp
it is
bait
just rank. Yep.
You actually put that in your shrimp bait mixing vat how-to, which was very in-depth with a number of different bait options, and there's a lot of crossover there, shrimp and or crab, right?
Yeah. And you know it's good when you throw that pot in the water and there's just like a sheen of oil that just covers the water.
Well, dumping that Potski's crab and shrimp fuel in there definitely adds a lot to it. You want to have a bait that forecasts that scent plume and just kind of milks out and goes down current and draws them crab up to your pot, and then once they get a taste of that, they crawl on in, and then you got to have something in there for them to chew on so that they stay.
You know, and then the other thing is, like, I like to switch my bait out every time I pull. Every time I pull, I'm pulling that old bait out, and with that, you know, the Potski's, you know, crab and shrimp fuel.
Yeah.
You can just take the old bait out, throw it back into that brine. I keep it in a 5-gallon bucket.
Yep.
Throw it back in there, swish it around, put some fresh bait in. You can reuse that same bait because it's going to soak up all of those scent attractants into the bait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, you cannot touch another pot. You can be arrested. Yeah, most folks are weighing in here to say, yeah, that's absolutely illegal. My understanding is it's always been illegal.
It's illegal, yeah.
So can't do that. All right, good stuff there, buddy. Get out and get some crabbing going on, man, because it is happening, and there seems to be an abundance. And nice-sized crab, too.
Oh, yeah.
Well-fed this last year.
Corn-fed.
Corn-fed, kind of like Tommy.
Yes.
Okay, jumping out for a quick couple-minute break. We come back. We'll close out the show. Karsten McIntosh, Communications Manager with the Northwest Marine Trade Association, getting him on. Going to run down the Derby Series that is taking off as of yesterday. He's going to walk you through all that, tell you all the ins and outs and what you potentially could win and what there is at stake this year. And the Derby should be fishing pretty darn good.
Yeah, I
pretty
agree.
Excited, especially when we get in deep into the season with these coho derbies. So don't go anywhere. If you're a Derby fan or one who goes and fishes the derbies, definitely stay tuned because Carson's going to have some great info for you. Coming back in a couple minutes right after this break here on Fish Hunt Northwest.
Defiance boats are built without any structural wood materials. That is why we back our boats with a lifetime warranty. All of our Defiance boats come standard with large fish boxes that are fully insulated so that you can ice your fish properly all day. Defiance boats feature a 21 to 22 degree dead rise at the transom and a large reverse chine for incredible handling and stability offshore. Defiance boats are foam flotation filled and unsinkable for the ultimate in safety while fishing offshore. Defiance boats feature fuel efficient hull designs with large fuel tank capacity so that you can have maximum fuel range for making long offshore runs completely safe and affordable. All Defiance boats come standard with self-bailing decks for improved safety while at sea. Defiance Boat offers all our boats with Honda outboard packages so that you can take full advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty from your Honda outboard. Defiance Boats for all your boating needs, and let us help you get out on the water.
Today, the need for quality private security services is at an all-time high. Contract Security Service provides day-to-day peace of mind as they protect people and property. Phoenix Protective Corporation strives for excellence. Above all, Phoenix security officers are managed by leaders trained to inspire and encourage greatness. Here at Phoenix, we provide service for multiple state and federal contracts, with service ranging from uniform, patrol, alarm monitoring, canine detection, executive protection, as well as investigative work. We here at Phoenix are looking for highly motivated individuals to apply. If you're a vet, retired or active, and would like to work with us, please apply.
Okay. All right, welcome back. Fish on Northwest, Wayne England, Tommy Donlin, closing out the show. But before we get out of here, we got to walk down this Derby series.
We got plenty of derbies coming up.
We
here.
got a lot of opportunity. It's not like last year with doggone COVID. Karsten McIntosh, Communications Manager of the Northwest Marine Trade Association, on the phone with us again, Tommy. And Karsten, first of all, thanks for taking time out tonight and joining us here.
Yes, sir. It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely. So we were talking at the break here, and before we jump into the Derby Series, give us an update. You were alluding to the fact, pink salmon, talking, I think, a little more up north, and/or some of the fish counts coming out of that Port Townsend, Port Angeles area. What do you got?
Yeah, so we've been fishing pretty hard since the opener here in Area 9, and I've been kind of on the side watching the fish counts up in Area 6, and they have just been really, really, really good, like a fish a rod at times. For a long time, consistently. And we've been waiting for those fish to turn the corner and start coming down more into Area 9. We had a really hot opener, and we've been kind of waiting for the next wave. And from what I hear today, it was really good up towards Port Townsend, Mid-Channel Bank. So I'm hoping they're starting to turn the corner and come down. And then for the first time today, we finally hooked into some pinks. So the pinks are starting to arrive. The Pinkapalooza 2021.
The Pinkapalooza, the hordes.
Yes.
Hordes,
3 million
yeah,
or
exactly.
so. Yeah, they're bouncing back.
Yeah.
We've had, we really dipped off the charts there 2015, 2017, finally making a comeback. You know, go back 10, 12 years when we hit that 3 million. I think it was the following season. 2 years later, we were in excess of 5 million. So they rebound pretty quick. Once those numbers get over that threshold, man, they tip the scale upwards of 6 million at times. This, I think, with good ocean conditions and favorable conditions as we've seen as of late, the next few years could be pretty positive, in not just the pink salmon as well. So, anyway, hey, we got a Derby series to talk about. You know, it's not all doom and gloom, man. We do have some fantastic Derby opportunities. Didn't we have the Coeur d'Alene started yesterday, July 21st? Isn't that right?
It did. Yep, Lake Coeur d'Alene Anglers Association, the big one. Yeah, it's a landlocked Chinook Salmon Derby, and you'd be amazed at the size of fish that they catch in that derby.
Yeah, I've
for
seen
many years, it's the biggest fish weighed in of all our derbies comes from Idaho, Lake Coeur d'Alene.
Yeah,
go figure.
Pushing 30 pounds sometimes.
Gosh,
you know,
man,
so
unbelievable.
That almost makes me cry. You know, we need to fix that.
Huh?
We got 60
here.
pound Chinooks swimming around in Chile of all places.
Right.
And you're telling me we can't do that same thing here in the state of Washington?
Yeah, and 30 pounders in a lake.
Yeah, in Idaho.
Idaho.
Come on, man.
Give me a break.
Yeah.
Yeah, those Chinook in that lake are one heck of a species, man, and they cut relatively well, and you definitely see some large fish coming out of that derby. What's the participation?
The end of day one. Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, I was just going to say, day one was yesterday, and the number one fish right now is 28.7 pounds.
Holy cow.
Number two is 23.5, and third place is, well, the top five are all 20-pound plus fish.
Wow.
And that was just after day one yesterday. So I talked to Benita out there at that derby. She said fishing's better than usual out there. So.
And this is
great hot start.
This is a 4-day derby?
Let me see if I can do my math right. Wednesday to Sunday. Wednesday,
it's
Thursday,
5-day derby.
5-day, yeah.
5-day fishing derby.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
That is great. What's the participation numbers like? How many folks show up for this thing?
It's kind of like a famous event in the area.
Okay.
I'd say pretty much everybody with a boat in the Coeur d'Alene and Spokane area fishes in this derby.
Wow.
And that's one of the reasons they spread it out over 5 days is so that, you know, if one person can't fish on one day, or, you know, to kind of accommodate everybody's different schedules.
Right.
Yeah, I want to say the derby has 300 plus anglers.
Wow.
It's the big one.
That's impressive.
Dwayne, next year, we're loading up your boat and we're headed east.
We could do it.
We got to do this.
We'll go there and roll some
don't
herring.
even get me started on the bass fishing on Lake Coeur d'Alene too. I mean,
oh boy,
what's a bass?
The opportunity is incredible on Lake Coeur d'Alene. So, what's a bass?
Tommy here's bass.
Don't worry, Tommy. I'm saying the same thing. Actually, I don't understand bass either, but I hear great things about Lake Coeur d'Alene.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Brewster Salmon Derby, you know, August 6th through the 8th now, reports over there, good numbers of fish. I believe the preseason forecast for that particular pool in the numbers of Chinook that would be arriving here shortly is in the neighborhood of 70,000 or so. Just an incredible run this year. That Derby should post some really good numbers, don't you think?
Yeah, generally speaking, that Derby it's pretty impressive. I've been over to that derby a couple years in a row, and I'm amazed at the amount of solid Chinook salmon that are caught there. I mean, good size and good numbers and catch rates. This year's a little interesting, you know, because usually there's some sockeye mixed. Well, there are sockeye mixed in, but the sockeye closed early this year over there. But it doesn't matter because it's a king salmon derby. So
right.
Yeah.
Well, August 7th is the one-day event, starting off for the weeks of one-day events, and that is the South King County PSA Derby. And I was going to tell Tommy we're fishing that this year, but it looks like we are heading to the ocean and chasing tuna. So that particular event typically gets a really good turnout, and the South King County Chapter PSA does a fantastic job putting on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. I just love that whole atmosphere down there at Point Defiance. You know, you got the mooching boats rolling out of the lockers, going down the elevator into the water. You know, you got the big meat lines cranking. It just feels very authentic Pacific Northwest salmon fishing down at that derby. It's great.
That's for sure.
I would agree. Then we jumped to Gig Harbor, then August 21st, Salmon for Soldiers. September 11th, now we're getting into these coho derbies. Let's talk a little bit about this series of coho derbies, starting with Edmonds.
Yeah, so kind of the tried and true Central Puget Sound derbies, Edmonds and Everett. Edmonds September 11, Everett will close it out on September 25 and 26. But there's a lot of eyes on this new derby this year, September 17th and 19th. The Resurrection Derby, formerly a Blackmouth Derby in January, ran out of the PSA Fidalgo San Juan Islands chapter in Anacortes.
Right.
They're switching it up this year, no Blackmouth fishing, so they're doing Coho Derby September 17 to 19, and I expect it to be very well attended. Yeah, really excited about that.
That's a good point. Resurrection Derby historically was always that Blackmouth opportunity, and now it falls in line between the Coho series. So, complete 180 flip. But I think you're spot on in that regard. I think there's a lot of people looking forward to fishing that opportunity that they now have again. So. Let's speak, if you would, Karsten, on the boat. Last year we had you on. We only had a couple derbies on the series that were allowed to take place due to COVID, and folks that entered in on those derbies, true or false, qualified for the boat giveaway this year. What's the whole story behind that?
They are 100% qualified. Yep. So any derbies that happened last year in 2020, 2019 season, they are entered to win this year's boat that we're giving away. We held onto the boat for an extra year because more than half our derbies were canceled. So we're back in action, and it's nice to see some of these derbies that didn't get to happen last year are back this year. So we're giving more opportunities for folks to win this grand finale Northwest Fishing Derby Series Kingfisher 2025 Escape Hardtop with Yamaha power on it. 200 Yamaha, and that thing goes fast.
Oh, I bet it flies.
I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
The time that it takes us to get from point to Port of Everett is definitely faster than taking a car. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. So. I know you guys get out there and work out all the bugs, make sure those boats fish very well, electronics all work, motors work, the whole deal. You spend some time on the water and break them in, so to speak, and get some blood on the deck. So they're always handed off as a proven fishy vessel, that's for sure.
Yes.
Anything going on?
Beautiful Ray Marine electronics package.
Oh, yeah.
Right
Shock
on.
seats. It is dialed. Hudat Tower, Burnowin accessories. It's dialed in.
Yeah. Absolutely. Anything going on in particular with the entire Derby series you want folks to know about? Any changes or any news you want to get out there?
Just that this is it. This is the grand finale of the Derby series. As we like to say, it's going to be heading into the NMTA Seattle Boat Show Hall of Fame after this season. So we encourage you guys to get out and fish in these 8 derbies between now and September 25 and get entered to win this final boat giveaway of the Derby series. As this will be the end of the Derby series as we know it for at least the near future. And just one thing I do want to reiterate is that does not mean the derbies aren't happening. The derbies are all put on by individual entities.
Yeah.
What we do at NMTA is we package them all together and advertise them and help promote them. In an effort to promote, fishing and opportunity for folks to get on the water and to get people excited about boating by putting this grand prize boat together by some of our NMTA member businesses and different sponsors from the industry.
Gotcha. Yeah, so I wanted to make sure folks understood that clearly, and thank you for clarifying in the effect that as far as your folks' involvement with the Northwest Marine Trade Association and the marketing and the promotion and the boat giveaway at the end of the year, that is going away. This will be the last season of that particular series, but the derbies in and of themselves will still continue to be put on by a lot of these private groups.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely.
Fantastic.
And I'll still be fishing them. So you can still find me at any derby in the Pacific Northwest.
Well, sounds like a plan. If I can drag Tommy to any of a few of them, we'll definitely be out there in the 21 Mustang hardtop. That's just a matter of...
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I'll be standing at the boat launch with my thumb in the air. I'll be looking for a boat to fish on now. So.
Anytime, man. You are welcome. Anytime. Get out there on the water with us for sure. We'll have to put that together.
Sounds good.
Hey, I want to thank you so much for jumping on tonight. I know it was kind of a latter part of the show, but you were willing to hold on and jump on in here and give us a rundown, and really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I love hearing from you guys. Thanks for thinking of us. Appreciate
absolutely.
it.
Have a good one, Karsten.
Okay, man. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.
All right. Take care. Yeah.
Thanks.
Bye.
Yeah, Karsten and his team have overcome a lot, dealing with COVID and having to bring a 100% virtual boat show to life.
No doubt about it. Yeah.
Pretty impressive what he and his team have done.
Yeah, they found a way to survive, and they didn't just survive. That boat show, if nothing else, was a flat-out success, although it was virtual. I mean, you, as an example, in your seminars and what you were able to bring to the table, that folks could just get online and tune in. And just watch all these different presentations, and the information was unbelievable. And we haven't spoke to Karsten, but we will as we roll forward and get near towards into 2022 and look at what that boat show is going to look like. Who knows where we're going to be with this whole COVID, roller coaster up and down, and all that being said. But we could get into that boat show next year. It could be a full-on walk-around, hopefully mask-free, the whole deal. And yet we can still have an online presentation, I think, because they saw the value in that.
Right.
Of folks who can't attend the actual walk-in, but just the educational factor and all the access to all you guys who are presenting, man. The information is valuable.
Pretty awesome.
And should have access to it. And it's an additional income generator for them.
Yeah.
On the other side of that. So really good stuff. All right. I want to thank all our guests this evening. Well-rounded show. Lineup was fantastic. Folks came to the table with a lot of good info. Tommy, any final words before we close this bad boy out?
Just talking about tuna a little bit. There's fish out there, and it's kind of typical early season. Early season, the fish are spread out. Some years more than others. Right now, the fishing is a little bit slow, but they are there. And you know what? The water looks just absolutely perfect. There's a hard temp break, a good coinciding color break to the water. I think it's just a matter of time before the fishery completely pops and you're railing one right after the other. A lot of single-digit catches right now, but they are there, and they're everywhere from, our near-term break all the way out to the 131 line.
Yeah.
So acres and acres of tuna.
Well, we got a couple weeks. We'll do a show next week, next Thursday, the 29th. We'll do a show the following weeks, which would be the 5th. And then we hit the tuna grounds on the 7th, and they should be here. We got a 2-week window. As you said, the water line is set up. Everything is coming together. It's just a matter of them pushing up out of the south and arriving so that we can simply run out, load the boat, turn around, come back in. End of story, right?
If it were that simple.
It's that simple.
I said if it were that simple,
we're going to have a good day. We're looking forward to that. We're looking forward to bringing you guys the on-the-water content that we produce when we get out there on the water, in the woods, and take the beard with us, filming what we can, capturing what we can, throwing our how-tos out there that are relevant in the outdoors, and bring it here in studio each and every week. I want to thank everybody for joining us. Join us again next week, 6 p.m. live right here in studio at Fish Hunt Northwest. Have a great week. Be in touch. Stay in touch. Go to our Facebook page. Check it out. Jump to our YouTube channel, please. Spread it out there. Let's build our YouTube channel. Subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything. Push out our content. Get folks to subscribe to our channel. It's been blowing up lately, and we appreciate that. Go to our webpage if you haven't. www.fishhuntnw.com. Check out our online store with all our wares. Tommy was wearing sleeves when he got here, and this is what he is leaving with. So lots of great stuff there in our store. Hats, hoodies for the wintertime, shirts, all kinds of great stuff, stickers. We got it all. Check it out. See you next week, 6 p.m. Goodbye for now.